a national event every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. across the country. I think we confirmed this when the Kaufman people were here a couple weeks ago. There are 110 franchises, chapters. Thank you for in the country, and so we are just one of 110, but we are the best of 110. So it's an entrepreneurial event. We have two founders come up, present their business, and it's not a pitch. They come to present what they're working on, what they're building, and then ask for feedback on some of their current challenges and what we call our 1MC ask as our last slide. So this is not a pitch. We want feedback from the audience. These are two courageous founders, excited to talk about what they've been building. What's nice is we have a regular, Martina, who's going to be presenting. Sunny is they're only clapping because she brought donuts.
It's about outcomes.
It's about outcomes. So please, because 1 Million Cups is a nonprofit, we do need registration. We don't collect your data. It's just to then continue applying for grants at the national level, so we can keep doing this stuff, because putting on events are not free. And so Kaufman, we are backed by the Kaufman Foundation. They help support us on the back end and provide us with a lot of resources, materials, the cups that our presenters will be getting afterwards. So please sign in. I think I gave enough time to do so. One of our, if you want to follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, I know that the one on Instagram won't work for you, but if you want to become a presenter, please talk to me afterwards. I want to shout out Teamwork in My Tech Nexus. That's where we're at today. And we have been for a long time. We've been partnering with them since like the fall, I think, at this point. And so they've been a great partner. They are offering 1 free week of co-working. You're also welcome to continue co-working here today and every Wednesday after 1 Million Cups. So thank you. I know they're not in the room, but we all thank them for what they do for us every week. Who here is drinking some coffee? I would hope everyone. Now, my cup is empty, but I was drinking water and all this stuff. But I want, Betsy is the founder of U3 Coffee. Let's go! I'm gonna take a step down. I want Betsy to talk about the great work they're doing at U3 Coffee.
Yeah, 30 seconds on U3 Coffee. I think we've been partnering with this organization for the past year. We started U3 Coffee 2.5 years ago. It's a coffee company, and we're kind of building the brand around uniting the world through coffee. Prior to this coffee company, my co-founders were also entrepreneurs in different, whether it was fintech, I was in ad tech, and our companies have been sold. And so we were like, what literally made our careers? And it was one cup of coffee after another. There was points where I'd have like coffee for breakfast, coffee for lunch, and afternoon coffee before happy hour, and then I made a pot of coffee after I put my kids to bed and worked as long as I could keep my eyes open until, 15 years later. So now I feel like we're like kind of giving back to coffee. So we started the company 2.5 years ago, and we actually opened our first cafe right outside the city in Forest Park a year ago. And we're talking roasters, and part of our goal certainly is to kind of fuel the entrepreneurs that we worked with for a long time with coffee. So when we learned about this organization, we have kind of a coffee setup and machine at 1871, and then got introduced to this organization, and we're in a few other kind of incubators in that way, and now bringing our coffee into different I would say businesses who also have cafes and things of that nature. So it's been fun. Our cafe in Forest Park has a rooftop, which is a really fun space for that. And if everybody could follow us on Instagram, that would be fantastic. And thank you. I really appreciate it.
Oh. All right, enough with me. Let's get into our presentations. First up is Sunny Shaw. If you want to come up and get ready, everyone a standing ovation for Sunny. Woo! Oh, and then sure. So I get you can just tap in and you got it. Yeah.
All right. My first standing ovation for not even doing anything. That's okay. Appreciate y'all for being here so early. This is my first time at 1 million cups, so I'm super excited. I'm an event host and community builder myself in Chicago. I run a community called Dinner Club, which is for founders and creatives, and so spaces and opportunities like this are very near and dear to me. I'm a big believer in community, especially in business, and passion, the power of bringing people together to just help each other and support and uplift each other is so like heartwarming. And so being invited here as a speaker is really something I do not take for granted. And thank you all for being here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about TruGen AI, which is a startup that I've been working on. I'm one of the co-founders and the chief marketing officer. So I'll be kind of sharing my perspective from that lens. A little bit about us in one line, for as well as you can read it. We give potential buyers who land on your website a personalized conversational experience. So to put it very concisely, as everybody knows, with kind of the wave of AI, the way people are interacting with technology is changing. The way people are finding information is changing. And one thing that hasn't changed a lot is the website experience. And so our real mission right now with TruGen AI is to take the experience of landing on somebody's website and upgrading it with AI in order to make that as effective and enjoyable of an experience as possible. So a little bit of an origin story to TruGen AI. We actually started about 3 years ago as an AI research team. We kind of identified this need amongst lots of businesses that they wanted to adopt AI. They wanted to have agents that can talk with their customers, their employees, etc. However, they were kind of limited by the interface for these AI agents. Namely, almost all of these agents were in the form of chatbots that you can only really type with and have these text conversations with. And we thought that that left a lot on the table for the types of experiences and conversations people could have. And so we set out with the mission of actually upgrading kind of the interface of AI agents from chatbots to video avatars, human-like avatars that have a face and a voice that you can actually talk to face, more like talking to a regular person. And so we spent a couple of years developing Huma1, which is essentially a video generation model that helps you develop a human-like video avatar that any AI agent can adopt. We essentially created the fastest and lowest cost video gen model on the market. And we set out to basically figure out what is the best use case for this technology. We started with developing a simple platform and API that allowed anyone to upgrade their chatbot into a video agent. But we've really found a lot more excitement and opportunity in the idea of actually building our own enterprise agents that are full stack, specialized for different use cases. The very first one we developed was actually an AI recruiter that was able to have first round interviews with applicants. That was kind of interesting, and we got some positive feedback, and we started trying to market ourselves and sell ourselves and find customers. And in that process, we actually found an even larger use case, which was this idea that when someone lands on your website, they're not able to have a really full conversational experience like they're used to nowadays in the age of AI. And so since then, we've actually somewhat pivoted and now really focused on launching our flagship agent, which is an AI SDR called Clara. I'll tell you a little bit about Clara briefly. I know this is a short presentation. We were going to mostly do Q&A, but essentially, Clara sits on your website in the bottom corner. You can customize her to have any kind of, personality, appearance, age, gender, ethnicity, etc. Fully customizable. It can even look like you or somebody you know. And she's able to have a conversation with everyone who comes to your website so that rather than them having to browse and find the information they're looking for, they can simply say, hey, Clara, this is why I'm here. This is what I'm interested in. Can you tell me about XYZ? And she's able to have an intelligent conversation. She's able to pull up slides. She's able to navigate around the website to them. She can do personalized demos if you've got a software product or something that's more interactive. Essentially, our real philosophy is that companies are putting so much effort into getting people to their website. They're doing all kinds of marketing strategies. They're putting all kinds of money into all these different channels in order to get people to your website. And hopefully, they'll be able to learn about your product or service and engage with you. But that very moment when they get to the website is when most people fall off. And that process of having to find that information themselves and then maybe book a demo with someone on the team and then wait 3 days to have the demo, then do the demo, then talk with another salesperson, you lose so many people in that pipeline. And so Clara really sets out to be an engaging, fun experience that gets to the core of why someone is on your website, is able to have a conversation, can even handle objections, can show them exactly the demo. So we take that whole process that sometimes can take days or weeks and has a lot of fall through, and we turn that into one, maybe 3 or 5 minute conversation. So here's a little bit about what Clary does briefly. So first off, she engages with website visitors. Then she does qualification. So she asks about, who you are and make sure that we understand, is this person a high priority ICP? What kind of bucket do they fall under? She's able to answer questions, do demos. She integrates with Calendly or any scheduling software so that she can actually directly book a meeting. You don't have to kind of put in your information. You can just talk verbally, say, hey, I want to meet with somebody at Wednesday at 3, and she sets it up. She's able to handle objections, essentially do everything that kind of an entry level sales rep would be able to do in the sense of adding them to the CRM, adding notes, kind of notifying the team. So that's a little bit about Clara. The business model is pretty straightforward. We essentially charge $1 per buyer conversation. So if somebody comes to your website, they have a conversation with Clara, costs $1. Our ICP is GTM leaders, so people leading revenue, growth, marketing, and sales at all kinds of companies. Essentially, anyone who's in charge of, improving the website experience and turning that website traffic into pipeline. And our primary offer right now, we've only actually launched Clara less than 2 months ago. And so right now we're offering free 2-week trial periods just to get it in on as many websites as we can so that we can start getting data and results about where Clara is effective, where we maybe need to continue to build out new features. And we're hoping that after some successful trials, we'll be able to convert customers. Traction so far. So we've been beginning to prove efficacy with Clara within a few trials. We're seeing 10 times engagement over chatbots. So typically when someone lands on a website where we've deployed Clara, 10 to 20% of those people actually start a conversation with her. Whereas only 1 to 2% of people will typically start a conversation with just a chatbot that's in your website. And we're seeing 6 times conversion on website traffic. Most of those are people who are booking demos since we're primarily selling to like B2B SaaS. And so compared to before Clara, they're seeing 6 times more website visitors are actually booking that demo. Recent wins. So we actually just recently released Huma 2, which is our latest video gen model, which is kind of the core technology that we spent the last few years developing. And we're very proud to say that we are actually 6 times faster than the next leading video gen model and less than half the cost. And so that really just allows us to offer kind of a service that's a lot more realistic, lifelike, less like lag at a price that nobody else can really offer. And then, like I mentioned it almost 2 months ago, we launched version 1 of Clara, which is super exciting. It's our full kind of end-to-end full stack agent that we've developed. So we've kind of used our video gen technology in multiple different use cases, but this is the first one where we've really built in a whole suite of agentic capabilities in line with what it does. And so far we have a few trial customers. So Sprinto does compliance, Omni Logistics does logistics, and SBSoft is in medical software. And so a few different industries, and all of them are seeing pretty exciting results. So that's been huge for us. Current challenges. Number one challenge, and these are very kind of from my perspective as the chief marketing officer, as you can see, they're all sort of in that line. The first one for me is growing brand awareness. I'm a big believer that, I want everybody to know about Clara, especially in Chicago, like my hometown, my home city. I want it to be something where there's just a buzz about it. And so that's a big priority for me. I'm trying to create a lot of social media content. I'm trying to do events. I just want people to know about us. And so that's my biggest challenge is how do I get something that's not really a consumer product, that's pretty niche, that's a little out of the box, and make it something that's well known in Chicago as it's like a promising Chicago AI startup. That's like my real goal. Number 2 is I'm growing a community called AI GTM Club. This is my second community. It's for GTM leaders looking to learn about AI. Again, I'm a big believer in community as a marketing channel, community just as a way to kind of lead your marketing. And so that's what I'm really working on. We held our first event last month. We're growing our membership list, and so that's a big focus for me. And then finally, and as my CEO would say, most importantly, we're trying to find companies to actually try out Clara. And so that's like goals number 1, 2, and 3 really is how do we get in front of these GTM leaders and get them to take a chance on us and try out Clara, even though it's a little new, it's a little out of the box, and just see how it works for them. So how 1 million cups can help, what I would really appreciate, is introductions to any GTM leaders you know, any heads of growth, revenue, marketing leaders, sales leaders. If anybody's interested in social media content or events and community stuff, would definitely love to collaborate. Maybe we could do like, a little video for LinkedIn or Instagram, or you could come to one of our events. Always excited to collaborate with other kind of creators and leaders in the business space who are getting their brand out there. And finally, I'm looking for a space to host events. That's a very kind of tactical specific one, but like I said, we're hosting a lot more events, and we actually are a remote distributed company, so we don't have an office. And so I'm really hoping that I can find a company in Chicago who is aligned kind of with what we're all about, that we could partner with and maybe host events at their office. So if you know somebody who is interested in kind of hosting events that might be kind of in line with what we're doing, definitely looking for a space where we can have dinners and networking events and workshops. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. There's my contact information. Best place is LinkedIn, but any of them work. And yeah, appreciate you. Thanks for listening. And then, yeah, time for questions. Yep. Sure. Yeah.
I have 3 questions. First, you have really great presentation presence.
Thank you.
It was really engaging. My first question is, where can I get your sweater?
Start with the most important questions here.
But for real, so my question that I have is, how simple, like you have this tree trial period, how simple is the integration? Is this as easy as like, adding a widget to your site and with an API? Like what does that look like?
Yeah, great question. The answer is TikTok Shop. So, actually, shout out my girlfriend in the back. She bought it from TikTok Shop for like $30, so definitely would recommend. It's just funny. For your actual question about implementation, what? For your actual, it's like 9:30 a.m. For your actual question about implementation, it's like
It's also TikTok shop.
it's also TikTok Shop. Yeah. No, it's about a 1 week process. Pretty much, there's a few steps. The first one is that we have to build out your agent, and so that can be as simple as choosing one of our templates like Clara, and then you're done in 2 seconds. Or if you want, you could hire an actor, a model, a team member, and they can film a 2-minute video of them reciting a script that we've created. And from that video, we can actually create an agent that looks just like them. So that's the first part, is creating the agent. Second part is creating the knowledge base. So essentially, that's us finding all of the information that we can collect about your company through websites, documents, etc., and feeding that to kind of our knowledge base so that it can learn about your company and be able to have intelligent conversations. Then the third and final part is what we call the system prompt. And that's essentially the blueprint, the instructions for how this agent is going to behave. So if you want to tell it, I want you to use this specific sales methodology, I want you to take this approach to qualification, this approach to handling objections, that's the opportunity for you to basically teach it how to operate. And so those are the main 3 components. Outside of that, it's mainly about integrating with your tech stack, your CRM, your booking schedule, things like that, which is pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah, but seriously, where'd you get your sweater?
Literally TikTok Shop.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Quick question. What was a strategy that you think helped you create this model for half price and twice as fast? Was it a model that didn't eat up as much tokens for inferences, or what was your strategy or band? Because that's pretty big.
Honestly, we had like an 8-person research team across like Europe and Asia that kind of just built it from the ground up, and they just like tried. I can't really answer it because I'm not on the technical side, so I don't know exactly how they did it. But essentially, they just like coded it, I guess. Yeah.
So how is Clara different from Ava?
Main difference, what we really can do that no other video agent does, is the personalized demos. And so we're the only agent that can actually pull up a visual of your product or slides of your product and be able to show specific aspects of it based off the question that they're asking can actually interact with the product and say like you can click here and this is what happens, this is how this works. And so compared to agents that are just sort of having buyer conversations, we actually are able to kind of more so mimic what a sales agent would do if they're actually doing a demo, more interactive, kind of answering questions a little bit more intelligently. And so we're just trying to go a little bit deeper into kind of the agentic capabilities beyond just kind of that surface level conversation.
So is there like is there a website that we could go on and test this out ourselves?
Yeah. Well, if you go to TruGen.ai, you can do a demo with our general video agents. I will add, oops,
My Google Chrome, yeah, you can change
this
this.
one. All right, here we go. I will add our Clara website as well. Well, maybe we can send it out afterwards.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
I'll just curious, like, be interested to play with it.
Sorry
I
about
need
that.
a few extra dollars.
Yeah, so ClaraSDR.ai is like our specific agent website where you can kind of like demo that more specifically. I have like a deployed agent that I can send out privately where you can have like a more realistic experience. So happy to share that with anyone if they're interested.
And how big of a event base are you looking for?
Honestly, even a small one is fine. We're primarily hosting like 8 to 10 person dinners. We also do larger events, but even a small space would be helpful. Yeah.
Well, I guess like in the indie hacker community, it's like a lot of people use software because there's just like templates. So like a big one is like adding a template, like creating a template that you can just deploy in yourself.
Yeah.
Then I guess like also YouTube tutorials on like how to add an AI agent. Like, sometimes like in the blockchain community, they have tutorials on like things that are not related to the product, but it's like hot topics that people want to do. So it's like, how do you deploy AI on your website, like YouTube videos?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Right now, we're doing all like white glove implementation, so we're completely kind of done for use setup. But definitely, I think that would be a great kind of set of media assets to create as well.
Yeah, and then I connected with what I know like technical YouTuber. But then,
Yeah, influencers, those are all we're partnering with influencers and such.
yeah.
Totally.
So you want
Do you want to be white glove?
Right now, we're happy to be white glove. Long term, obviously, we're gonna expand.
But in this, like, right now is what you're trying to do is white glove for everybody, so everything is unique.
Yeah, right now we need to be the ones to set it up to make sure that it's like fully properly working and as effective as it can be.
What are your goals beyond just SaaS? Like, are you just focused in that industry, or are you looking to expand into what?
Right now, yeah, B2B SaaS is our primary, but we think it can work for every industry: healthcare, finance, e-com, et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, can I do one quick
Yeah,
one?
take another one.
I think, yeah, she's been waiting.
Said that this is quite flexible based on what you just said around what you're and everything. But at the same time, I've done a lot of product demos in my life as well. I know you might ask very weird questions to
Yeah.
product demos, and that can deteriorate the entire conversation in different directions as well. So I'm curious, how are you balancing kind of like making it flexible enough that it's people, but kind of like pretty on spirit that doesn't need sometimes get space to use space to make the one. How are you kind of safeguarding that?
The main thing is we're just trying to build in self-iterating kind of learning into the agent so that it can basically understand based off how this conversation went and whether or not the person continued the conversation, whether or not they ended up booking a demo or doing whatever the CTA is, understanding how effective that system prompt is. So that over time it can learn, okay, these are the types of conversations that are most often leading to demos. And this is kind of what was in the behind the scenes of the algorithm in terms of what approaches it took, what sales methodologies it used, how much it gave the user freedom to direct the conversation versus how much it directed the conversation, all kinds of variables like that, so that over time, based off each specific website, it'll be able to kind of refine that its own processes.
All right, let's see.
Something.
I'm sorry, I couldn't really hear you, but I think I'm also getting pulled off, but I'm happy to find you afterward.
No,
That's a lot.
Smart who stole the show. Shout out TikTok shop.
All right, I think everyone pretty much knows the next presenter. She's been around the block. Most of us know her by her alias, MissChatGPT101, but it is Martina Matthews.
Thank you.
Are you gonna?
Stand up.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to say that I actually did not get my pitching coaching from with so
We'll see how well this goes.
we're just going with it. Okay, so I'm Martina Matthews, and many of you know me by Miss ChatGPT101. And actually, with one MC kind of crossing its 1 year mark, I'm also just about crossing my 1 year mark. One MC was my very first intentional marketing networking event as Miss ChatGPT101. Okay, so Miss ChatGPT101 is really about helping people embrace AI. And what I realize is the problem is not access. We all have access to AI. It lives on our phones, in our pockets. The problem is confidence. Over the last year, I'm realizing that companies, individuals and companies, we have the tools. Companies have been investing in AI tools over the last year, and they're just adding onto their tech stack, but they're not paying attention to the adoption strategy. Usage is inconsistent or it's just avoided. And teams don't feel confident applying them. So, having conversations with people over the last year, up until this past week, people are still saying, I'm scared to press the button. I don't really know what I'm supposed to be prompting. I don't know how to do any workflows. The little Copilot Sparkle has just showed up, but I don't know what to do with it. And so that's where I'm trying to bring comfort. Year one was about curiosity. So for those of you that don't know, I stepped away from about 2 decades of tech startup experience. My very first startup was Chegg.com, and the last startup that I was a part of was Life 360. Once I wrapped up that chapter, I just wanted to do something new. And AI just started to become a household name. ChatGPT, a household name. And I just started tinkering. So with that, I thought, okay, actually, as I'm talking to more and more people, there's opportunity here. So last year was the yes era. I said yes to everything. Whoever needed something, training, something built, anything, I was like, yes, 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 yes. And I built it in real time. I 1000% said yes to things that I did not know how to do yet, and then figured it out and built it and then delivered. So what this revealed is overcapacity. If you spoke to me last week, you knew I was feeling overcapacity, which on the bright side is a signal of demand. Last week, this was me. It's fine. So actually, I took the last week and really sat down and thought, where do I want to go with this? I reached out to people in my network and really broke down, here are all the things I did last year and what was the most interesting, the most engaging, what's tied to the highest ticket, and how do I differentiate myself? So this is what Miss ChatGPT 101 is becoming. I'm focusing on a flagship offer that is the AI Adoption Accelerator. So I'm selling to SMBs, to organizations. So the focus is on a team upskilling, but it's less about, I'm going to teach you the technical skills. I will do that, but it's more about having people feel comfortable with using the technology. The win is in the confidence. And in talking with different teams, they need to feel like they can relate to the person. They need to feel like no question is too simple or too dumb. And then they'll open up with like, okay, I'm ready to learn this. AI is moving so fast. I think every 3 to 6 months, we see a wave of just an update in the technology. It will be very costly to keep just training. If a person builds their confidence, now they're willing to start exploring the tools they already have or other tools that are out there to start embracing it. So the win here is the confidence. So hands-on AI adoption and workflow integration being kind of the tangible outcomes, but then having the confidence layer in the mix. A new offer is executive confidence coaching, specific focus on women in leadership. So over my 2 decades of experience at tech startups, I sat at the leadership table. So I'm very comfortable in leadership rooms. I have people ask me, how do you feel comfortable raising your hand in the leadership room? Or if the team is mostly men, how do you feel like you have your confidence to share your opinion, ask your question without sounding dumb? How do you command the room? All these questions. And now there is this new layer of, and now we have AI. And some women are not comfortable learning from a male instructor, trainer, or whoever. And so there is this opportunity to come in and lean into some executive confidence coaching. So while this just hit my radar last week, I do have my pilot client already in action.
Ooh.
The last one, so some overlap with Sunny. The audience engine for me is the live build events. So the in real life events I think are key, and this opens up to an audience mix of everyone. This is community and brand partners. This is hands-on learning that eventually converts to clients. But the key is to build the audience, the email list. So then you can reach out to them with like, hey, I think this is for you. Right? Even if it's not an offer that I have, the Chicago community is great. There are so many things going on. So cross promoting, right? People and services like Sunny just talked about. And it's just a great experience for people in the room. Over the last year, I have built some real traction. So these are some of the brands or organizations that I've worked with or have done panels for or something. So I've definitely built an in real life traction, credibility, trust factor. But year 2, I need to make some changes. So what's working is I have a strong inbound demand, and that's based on trust. I'm in a lot of rooms. I bebop all over the city. I live in the city, so it's very easy to pop into 3 or 5 events in one day. And that has built into something around my personal brand and then also MissChatGPT101. This has led to inbound conversations. So over the last 1 to 2 months, I'm getting more inbound conversations from SaaS products, agencies, and also enterprise leaders. So I'm in conversation with someone from Amazon who is looking to bring a hands-on in-person training session to their non-technical team. Because he just admitted, he goes, I'm not the one. I'm not the one to sit there and tell them how to do this. But I think that you could be the perfect fit for that. I have a SaaS product that found me on LinkedIn just from posting at different events. So they're not based in the States and they're looking to do activation events in the States. And so we're in discussions now for what that looks like dollar wise. And then some agencies. I have 2 AI agencies that are looking to have a more relatable face in front of their agency to have the conversations with the clients so that the AI services that they're offering or builds that they're offering, that the client can relate to it more, and then they come in on the technical side. And then in addition to that, growing speaking momentum, which is helpful for the live build events and community building. What needs to change is the overcapacity, right? So this is why we're moving into focus and structure. I might still be spreading myself too thin, but it's a step. Moving from undefined offers to clearly defined offers, and moving from invisible to a visible digital presence. So I've intentionally stayed off social media. I just launched a website maybe a month ago, and it's fine. And also, LinkedIn, I have posted plenty of selfies from events, so you see that I'm out there, but I haven't very clearly articulated what services I'm offering, and that's been really intentional because I didn't want to box myself in. So now we're at a stage where this is what I offer, and it's either a fit or it's not, and we're going to keep on moving. And I'm new to Instagram, so that's its own uphill learning curve, but we're gonna do that too. So my ask for this group is, if there are opportunities to partner on events or in-kind sponsorship opportunities, so the community building component, I want to get involved, right? And so this space is not necessarily having a fee tied to it for the right communities. It is about just building the community and continuing to be present in the ecosystem. And then that alone attracts sponsorships from other companies. Strategic input on building and scaling my digital presence. So would love to hear from this group, like favorite content creation tools or resources, platform strategies, right? So having one piece of content kind of work across all the different platforms. I understand the concept of it, but I would love to hear from people who are doing this and doing this well. Newsletter, basics, again, favorite tools, just to get going with it. YouTube basics. And then, I don't know, I hear from a couple people in this room, like everybody's really trying to struggle on Instagram. So if anybody wants to do an Instagram content club, I'm like ready. Like this is the season for that. Two also call outs here. The first QR code is I am hosting an event at the Polsky Center. So it's AI for small businesses. It's one of two stakeholder partnership events with the Polsky Center for Entrepreneurship and the Illinois Small Business Development Center. That's happening on May 12th. It's free to attend. We have a few live builds happening. We have Lovable sponsoring as well, credits for live builds, and a few other things. So this QR code is linked to a generic description right now, but the detailed agenda will start to layer in over the next 2 to 3 days as people confirm. And since it's not really showing up here,
I'll fix it during the Q&A.
okay. And then lastly, to connect on LinkedIn if we're not already connected.
Ooh.
And have donuts. Yes, or I guess.
Oh, go ahead.
So, question about branding. So as OpenAI is getting cooked on the consumer and on the enterprise kind of markets, by Anthropic and Claude, how do you feel about being brand connected to that particular product?
I love my brand name, and the reason is most people are not really keeping up with the tech news. This community is. You come out of this bubble, it's still, ChatGPT is still like the #1 household name, and still people aren't using it anywhere near what it's great at. Also, their image generation is getting a lot of love right now. There's a race, right, with all these big LLMs. Now, MissChatGPT101, it signals introductory. It signals 101. It signals like, okay, I'm a non-technical person. This is maybe my starting point. So I do sessions for ChatGPT, Copilot, and Claude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm owning it. I don't know. Do I pick or?
Sure, yeah. Great presentation. I really like that you can kind of hone in on women using AI. During my time at Uber, that was a very big thing in terms of like empowerment, especially for women in those groups that they're not really seeing. how do you right now like get into those rooms, whether it's the Metropolitan Club or some other high-end executive rooms? And what does that dialogue look like when you find a prospective client or something like that?
So I end up in these rooms regularly. I think because of my professional background, like the Metropolitan Club, you know, that's a room I was in. M Hub kind of leadership. I'm invited to galas. Like I'm already in these spaces. Chegg was a Silicon Valley unicorn, and so I still have that network. I hold on tight to my relationships. So I've never left those rooms. So that's an advantage for me. Having the experience is definitely an advantage for me. Being able to say I have been with companies either through an exit or have been an instrumental part of a company leading up to their exit just gives it credibility. And these conversations, I realize that they're conversations I've been having typically every Women's Month, right? It's the theme, it's always the theme, but those questions never go away. From networking events, I have women who have taken me out for cocktails and dinners just to pick my brain. So the demand is there. Now it's just about packaging it up as an official offer. But again, still doing the community events and talks because I don't want to take away access from those who might not be able to afford it, might not be in their budget, but I am going high ticket.
As part of the whole 101 experience, do you teach your clients like the cost of AI in terms of like the resources of it, like water, like everything like that, or is that like kind of
I steer clear from that discussion.
why?
It's not my area of expertise. And I think there are conversations that are especially focused on this. I think it's a general statement. And I mean, even we've been on panels where this question does come up. And, there's a bit of an optimistic trust that the people who that is their passion, they're going to figure it out as other topics around resource uses that happens. So I do choose to steer clear of that.
What's your longer term goal for this? Like, it seems like it's pretty good already. You have like a lot of inbound, you have like a lot of opportunity, maybe almost too much opportunity. What's like your vision? Like, you just kind of want to like narrow focus. Is there something you're like particularly interested about it? Like there's less of something you want and like more of like particular type of clients, or like what's your vision, I guess, like, I don't know, a year out from now, what you're looking for?
I'm not 100% sure. So this is where this first step is to dial in. I love people. I love, love, love people. Like people energize me, like throw me in events 7 days a week, like morning, afternoon, and night. And I'm like loving life. And I want to continue to help people, at least at this time, like just learn AI. I think from what does that look like from an opportunity? I would love for SaaS products to want to throw sponsorships my way. I think that's where the money is. If I can brand myself as the relatable face of AI, great.
And then what about, I guess, like, so in terms of like the other forms of marketing, like the newsletter and like the social media, does that energize you too? Or if it's like in-person stuff can be very powerful, and if that energizes you, that might be somewhere to kind of keep.
I think you need both. Though, I mean, I've done so many events over the last year and I did not collect emails and contact information along the way. So it's like a missed opportunity. I know that I need that. Also, if I'm in a room, okay, maybe I'm touching 100 people, or the largest room was 1,000 people, but then that's it, right? So I know digital presence is necessary. So I just need to step into that. And then there's additional money that's tied to it. It opens me up to be broader than Chicago, all that fun stuff.
Martin, take one more.
Sponsorships. Alfonso.
Hi, well, we know each other and I've known what you do in the space. And yesterday I was at an event, the majority of the people that I connect with are senior level leaders in HR. So one of the most prominent conversations was bringing in people that know, Chad and the different AI agents, and to teach their employee resources. So, so that's really out there. And, and these are, HR initiatives that have budgets, so, and we have our main meeting at the House of Blues. So come, and from the registrations, I know at least 3 people that are pretty high level in HR and they have money to spend, so.
Yeah, and I have inbound requests coming too. So I have a group of women HR professionals that reached out and they're asking like, hey, could you put something together? This is our budget for this event. But then from here, right, our organizations have bigger budgets if we can figure out how to work this in. So I'm at a stage where people are messaging me and they're like, they're still, hey, can you do this? What is your cost? Like, how do we make this work? So anything from like organizations like this. And then today I have an Instagram message that's like, hey, can you help me vibe code my MVP at I can pay? Like, I mean, people are just ready to give money. So I'm trying to organize this in a way where I can have a solution for everyone. Obviously, that'll be more than just me, but figuring out.
Bravo.
Just cutting.
The clock the clock is cutting off, not me.
I'm not leaving though, so if you want to chat.
Yes, please stay. Everyone, thank you. This was 1MC.
Bravo.
As I mentioned, you're welcome to stay here at Tech Nexus for the day in co-work. Presenters, organizers will get a picture up here. Happy networking.